Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What is going on with us? What is going on with the Netherlands? How is it possible, Chairman, that the country and the people who defied the Spanish tyrant with the act of abjuration, claimed their self-determination, dominated the world seas, captured the Silver Fleet, and humiliated the English at Chatham, now seem to have completely forgotten all their greatness, pride, strength, and self-confidence? What has happened to that country, that people who for centuries also shared our prosperity, civilization, and bravery with others, who blessed others with the fruits of our delta of freedom, trade, and character? That country, Chairman, that once so invincible, open-minded, and fearless country, our country today, can no longer even guarantee its own survival. Life is becoming unaffordable. Safety on the streets is no longer a given. Solidarity and a sense of community are disappearing. No Dutch person can get a house anymore. And Chairman, for several decades now, our country has been seized, held hostage, and oppressed by leaders who do not act in our interest, who have become completely alienated from Dutch identity, and who would prefer to see our history erased. Yes, Chairman, even one of the most basic things, if not the most fundamental political principle, the principle that Dutch leaders, Dutch politicians, should stand up for the Dutch people, seems to have been lost from sight by miles. Because anyone who looks at the numbers and statistics and studies the topic of today, namely housing construction in the Netherlands, can come to only one conclusion. Houses are not being built for the baker or the police officer, not for the entrepreneur or the nurse, not for the Dutch people. They are being built for the immigrant because the Netherlands is facing a housing shortage of 400,000. This cabinet is sticking to the goal of building 900,000 houses by 2030. So much more than is actually needed. Since 2022, more people have died in the Netherlands than have been born. Natural population growth has been negative for years. And yet the Dutch population grows by hundreds of thousands every year, solely as a result of immigration. And there you have it. That's why so many more houses need to be built than are actually necessary. Chairman, over the past 15 years, the Netherlands has had a migration balance, that is immigrants minus emigrants, of, brace yourself, 1.3 million. Of course, this leads to a housing shortage because so many more people have come in than have left since 2010. In that same period, more than half of the available homes went to immigrants. The Dutch citizen is paying for their own second-class status in their own country. Chairman, I am 25 years old. It is my generation that is reaping the extremely bitter fruits of this cabinet's policies and the policies of previous years. My generation cannot move out of their parents' homes. My generation has to keep living in the attic at their parents' house for years on end. My generation is postponing or even giving up on starting a family. And there you have the cause of the negative natural population growth in recent years. This cabinet forbids young Dutch people, my generation, from starting a family, forbids my generation from making something of their lives. The cabinet does not choose to build a home for my generation, but for people who are not even here yet. Chairman, anyone who says just build a bit more, a bit faster, a bit smarter, runs into the next barrier. Because housing construction has practically come to a standstill in this country. The same team of ministers that wants to build 900,000 homes by 2030 is sticking to disastrous climate and nitrogen policies. Policies that make building unaffordable and impossible. Policies that endlessly delay construction. This policy, Chairman, so the policy of this cabinet, ensures that if any new homes are built at all, their prices end up tens of thousands of euros higher, and even then it's questionable whether a power connection is even possible. That is no coincidence and doesn't just come out of nowhere. These are the drastic, direct consequences of political decisions made right here in this chamber. It is this toxic cocktail, Chairman, this toxic cocktail of throwing open the gates of our only home to immigrants from all over the world, combined with the utterly deranged green madness called climate and nitrogen policy, that ensures that no Dutch person can get or buy a home anymore. It is that policy, that playbook of the Jette cabinet, that is making the future for my generation, Mr. Chairman, increasingly impossible, sadder, and more hopeless. Forum for Democracy wants to pull the Netherlands and the Dutch out of the seemingly endless abyss. Priority for our own people, lower burdens, scrapping regulations, restoring national control. And Mr. Chairman, that starts with tackling the problem at its core. putting a stop to mass immigration so that supply and demand in the housing market can finally come into balance, scrapping climate policy so that homes can finally be built cheaply and affordably again, ending the nitrogen policy so that construction can finally proceed quickly, easily, and without endless permits, rules, and procedures. I am an incredibly proud Dutchman, Mr. Chairman. I love this country immensely. I love our language, culture, identity, values, norms, the history of our traditions, our people, and our endless resilience. Forum for Democracy will continue to fight for this beautiful country until our last breath, and I will give everything I have in me to contribute to that. Because we are still the people who defied tyrants and claimed our right to self-determination. We just need to rediscover and regain our greatness, pride, strength, in short, our self-confidence. Chairman, our ancestors fought for this country, built it, and passed it on. And the least we can do is ensure that future generations of Dutch people have and keep a home here in their own country, in our country. It is a moral duty to the generations before us, to my generation, and to all the generations yet to come. For the Netherlands, our Netherlands, thank you.